where we discuss just everything to do with the brotherhood, hence Brodeen, and the preaching of the gospel. I wanted to go into, let me see, talking about this preach, kind of how to preach. A lot of preachers and preach, and I had there's a preacher on Facebook, posted, one of the newer guys to the movement, Nick Bowling, and he said, hey, what are your thoughts about this guy? And people are talking about this and that, and there's different styles of what people do and how they do it, and it's great. I think it's great because there's a lot of people in the movement, but we have a ton of room to grow. There's so many needs, like so many of these cities that don't even have a street preacher. They don't even have one preacher. So many states don't even have one. And we need several in every city. Maybe not the smaller cities. You don't want to over preach a campus. You don't want to over preach, but being consistent at a lot of events is good. And getting out there and telling people the truth. But it should be, I know the Bible says that, some do it for love, some do it for envy, some do it hating the garments. Great verse, but I'm here to say that it's good to do it out of a love, out of a generosity. I know for me, there's been different stages of preaching, and at this point, as a preacher, I don't want any thought. I don't want any perception of me doing it for gain or for anything other than for the sinner, for their salvation. So when I go out, I'll give out a shirt, and I'll give, just different things, not anything, but, and sometimes the sinners will or Christians who say that they're saved, that's another genre, say that they're saved, they'll take something. They'll take my glasses and crush them. They'll take a banner and whatever, and to me, that's a gift to them, and I'll give the shirt off my back if I can, if a sinner will take it. And it needs to be motivated not by money, not by financial gain. What we want to see is that you are motivated by love. I didn't get into the game to sell t-shirts. I didn't get into the game I didn't get into this for women. A lot of women want you, and it's kind of like a fame and popularity thing. They want to be a one-night stand when you're some street preacher. There's people who want to mock you. They want to tear down your character, all these sorts of things. But as a street preacher, you gotta set yourself apart. You gotta love the people, whether they hate you or love you, and they will hate you. There is a ton of hate that comes our way, but endure through the highs and the lows and things like that. But there's just and maybe I should talk about it this way. There's different signs that preachers put off or people put off that tells you that they're motivated a certain way, and I'm not totally for or against people doing certain things, but sometimes you see the curses, and I'm not saying I'm going to curse you. I'm just saying that God might curse you if you make it about money, or if I've seen preachers like say, hey, I'm going to make a ton of money off of the street preachers by doing this, and there's just not that much. Street preachers are normally broke, living paid. Most preachers don't even live paycheck to paycheck. Most preachers live penny to penny. They're pinching and they're trying to go to this preach, to that preach, help out that brother. And I had a brother message me and he says, I can't afford accommodation. Oh, okay. Well, we can take care of that. But then he said, oh, I can't even afford food. And that's a hard place to be. And I think a lot of preachers are there, and a lot of preachers barely work, and maybe that's their calling, or maybe that's where they're at in life, or maybe they just got fired because nobody likes them and they're a street preacher. It happens. I've been a street preacher and I've tried to get work, and it's been very hard. It's very difficult to find a job, and when you do, you get your hopes up, and then you get fired, or it's a terrible boss, or all the other problems that people face when they try to work at a 9 to 5 or a 8 to 2 or whatever. There's just so many problems. There's so many bad bosses out there. There's bad employees and there's bad bosses. But when you're going out, you got to think about it. You got to prepare yourself for what's going to happen. They're going to hate you. They're going to take what you have. They're going to mock what you do have. If you have a job, they're going to make fun of you. They're going to make fun of you for being broke, no matter where you're at. Do you love them in that place? Do you love the sinners where they're at? Because sinners are sinners. They're going to hate you. They're going to mock you. They're going to be that, I don't know. It's the sinner is the perfect test of a preacher's pride, or where your humility is at, because they're gonna say all the crazy stuff about you. Do you love them? Not that your love is gonna get them into heaven. It won't. Prayer, fasting. The God is drawing them. Will they accept it? Are they called? Few. It's so few. But you've got to think about these things, and you've got to go out there. You've got to test yourself. You've got to, I would just, if you're a single guy, and my heart is for the single guys, just because so many things. But if you're single, you should be going out. You should be going out and doing events. You should be doing high schools. You should be doing college campuses, the ones in your town, locally, travel an hour or two, hang out with brothers, go to SOPA events. If there's an older Christian brother, go to their house, hang out. They might die in 6 months or 2 months. So I'll never forget the last moments I had with Brother Jed. And those were the last moments I had with him. I'll never forget the last moment, the last conference that I went to and hung out with Brother Ruben. Love that brother, love Brother Jed. And I get that some people don't think that certain guys are brothers. I get it, I think a lot of these guys have done great things for our movement. Do I agree with everything? No. I don't even know if I really agree with everything that I do. So it's important to think about. It's important to dwell on. If God will judge us, should we not judge ourselves? And that's important to see, like, hey, where am I coming from? Where is this coming from? Why am I doing this? And if you truly, if you truly love them, you'll go to the next mile, but you'll take that second mile for them. And I would honestly say that, and Ruben and some of the other guys would talk about, put your money where your mouth is, get a job, be fervent in it, work it well. But also, you've got to, like, as a preacher, you got to buy a banner. You have to. Like, call up one of the guys. I'm not even trying to support one or two guys, but buy a banner, buy a Christian t-shirt, go through the process of putting your money into this and being bold for your faith. Go to a conference. I'm not even going to tell you whose conference to go to. God will lead you, what conference, or, go to something local, and they may hate me. They may not like what I do or whatever, but that's fine. Get to know them, see if you can put up with how culty they are, I mean, there's some cults I can really put up with and I feel at home, and then they kick me out. And then there's some cults that I want to get out of because they're just bad. So, but it's about the brotherhood. We need a sense of brotherhood within this group, within any group, within Christianity. You need a brotherhood. You need a sisterhood. You need like-minded individuals that are working for each other and through each other. And it's just I wanted to put that out there, see what you guys think. Put a comment down there if you want to talk about it or whatever. It's been a great 12 minutes, and we're talking about it, but think about it, pray about it, and seek the Lord. But in all things, the preaching should be about love. Your family should be about love. You should seek the best. You should seek the best, and you should seek what is love. You should be bold. You should be to the point. You should say things in such a way that people say, like, wow, that's biblical, but crazy. Unless you don't want to do that, and then just quote Bible verses. But have fun. It's been great. It's been a great 12 minutes. See you later. Bye.